welcome and welcome back. In today's vlog, we're going to go ahead and talk about different types of sewing machines. If you're wanting to get started in either, just quilting or making garments or bag making, all of those things. So I'm going to show you, this isn't the very first sewing machine that I started with, but this is the sewing machine I bought in 2020. I'm just going to say 2018. Could have been 2017, but we're going to say 2018. And then I'm going to take you along the journey. Now, three of the sewing machines I no longer have. I sold those before we moved to Oregon, just because the space wasn't going to allow for that many machines. And then you're going to be like, you have so many more now. But let me show you what I have today and what I use each one of them for and what my plans are for the other machines that I have. So let's go ahead and I'm going to turn you around and we're going to take a look at all the sewing machines. So first we're going to start with this one. It's Baby Lock Rachel. This is the very first sewing machine, not the very first sewing machine that I've had, but the one I bought in either 2017 or 18, but we'll say 2018. And this is the one I started out, and I only bought it to make garments. My daughter wanted me to make her some custom shorts and tops, and so I said okay. I went and bought this little sewing machine, and then my husband a month later bought me the Baby Lock Destiny, which I no longer have. The Baby Lock Destiny was a sewing and embroidery machine, and it came with a lot of components, and she was a big girl, and she had her luggage. She had two luggages, one for the embroidery hoops and one for the machine itself, and then it was just really big. And moving here, I don't have the space. So in this room, I'll kind of give you a quick tour just so you could see the room space and why I don't have those other machines. So as you enter, and excuse the mess, these are garments that I made. That's a fabric that I use for a garment. Here's my interfacing for bag making. But when you enter, this is the room. And yes, it looks big on probably camera, maybe not. This is the cutting table. So right now I'm working on makeup bags. As you can see, here are all of my stuff. And here it is. Anyways, so the next machine, we have the embroidery machine, but that is not one of the next machines that I bought. This I just basically use for embroidery. I don't use it for anything else. But here we have, and then that's the serger, and that's the Vibrant, the Baby Lock Vibrant, and we're not going to include that in this video. Here I have the Janome. I bought this maybe in June. We are now in, what are we, in October? I think I bought this in June. Yeah, I think it was the end of June. And I bought this Janome because it had a lot of great reviews, and it had this big throat. Because I was using the Baby Lock Rachel, the very first machine I showed you, the throat space is very small. So I wanted something to make, a bigger throat space, and this one seemed to be it. I'm not 100% happy with this machine. I don't hate it, but I don't know. I have mixed feelings with her. But we'll continue on, and you can see I'm making bags here. You'll see all of my stuff here that I was working on last night. But and then here's the other side of that room. Here's the cutting table, and that's an open space into the hallway and the stairway that you can see. So it's not a closed room, and so I had to get rid of those other machines. So after I purchased this one, the Baby Lock Rachel, we got the Baby Lock Destiny, then I upgraded to a Juki. I think it's a DU1181N. It's an industrial machine, but it was heavy, and I wasn't happy with the performance. Being in an industrial machine, it gave me a lot of problems sewing through thick material. And when I say thick material, a cotton fabric with a vinyl, it would jam. Or even if I just used a very thin leather, it would jam. But let's go ahead. We're going to move on to a different room where I have some other machines. Okay, so next we have the Necchi Nora. This is Necchi Nora. She is beautiful. She's so, I mean, the stitches are delicious. They are so nice. I love this machine, but she's so heavy. She's so heavy to move onto a table. She could sew through about 6 layers of denim. I took a very thick leather material and folded that in three halves, and that 3 layers. This actually sewed through it with no problem. Like, it didn't even stutter. It was like, yeah, I got this. This machine right here is a beauty. Now, and here she comes with all of her attachments, but let me set that down. The only problem with her, like I said, is that she's extremely heavy. Like, I always have to call my husband to come and move her around. So I'm going to leave her here. Sorry about that. I'm going to leave her here and see if, I can rearrange the other room, maybe bring in the embroidery machine in here and maybe some other things in here. And that way I can have all of my sewing machines in one spot. The reason why I don't want to get rid of her is because I bought her for only $20 at Goodwill. And the only problem she had was this disc. This is where her attention is. It was, well, here's the thing. There was no problem with her until I took it to one of those sewing machine places, where they sell sewing machines and do repairs. And all I wanted them to do was go inside her, open her up and clean her up and oil her up. And then the next thing you know, he's like, oh, she doesn't work. And I'm like, what do you mean she doesn't work? I've been sewing on her. She reverses, she does everything. Like, what do you mean? And he said, no, her tension is broke. I said, no, it wasn't broke. So I kept her. She was just sitting in the garage. She has a cover. Here's her cover. I'm actually going to redo the cover because look how beat up the cover is. I mean, she's old. She's from the 50s. And she's traveled a long way from Italy because that's where Necchi was manufactured. So why I don't have the top on, I'm going to nail these in because on one side it's coming out. So I just kind of want to redo that. And then I'm going to go ahead and just do her up. She needs a do-over. But the machine itself, look at her. No scratches, nothing. She is gorgeous. This here, you can put cams up in here and she will do different stitches like embroidery stitches. She'll do zigzag stitches. I mean, she's amazing. She is amazing. I love this machine. But again, it's very heavy to move. And I've had her since 2018 for sure because I found her at Goodwill. I remember, and I told my husband after we moved so many times and he kept lugging her around, but she's extremely heavy. Like, I'm not kidding. She's probably 80 pounds. I might be exaggerating there, but she is heavy. So he kept bringing her along. And finally I said, you know what? Let me see if I can't fix her up. Because when the guy took her apart, he did mess her up. She was no longer working. I found this Necchi, and it's the same one, on Facebook Marketplace for $40, and she needs rewiring. So what I did was I took out the little knob and took the one that was on here off and put it on here because this one doesn't need rewiring. This one's perfect. And that's it. She's I mean, and again, she was working before I left her. So if you have an old vintage machine, don't take them to those machine shops. Take them to a place that literally work on vintage machines. Now, back then when I bought her, there was no videos or nothing on these Neckis. Now I found a couple of them, and with that, the help of those videos, I was able to open her up, clean her up, use the right things to clean her, the right oil, and that's how I knew how to replace the tension, the disc, it's a tension knob. And I did it myself. So I paid $40 for this one. And, I could open her up. Let's go ahead and do that. Let me set you here and I'm going to show you. She has the old one because I took it apart. And there she is. Same one. That's her foot pedal there. And I just, you know, I could probably fix that if I took the time out. Now her base is a lot prettier than her base. Her base is a lot bigger for whatever reason. I think they redid, they made the box bigger. I don't know what they did. I don't know. I'm just assuming. I don't know. But her base is much more prettier. But she does have some discoloration. This one here. Right up in this area. I don't want to lose anything. So right in this area, it kind of looks yellowish. So she does need some help in that area. I would never repaint these machines. I mean, they're beautiful. Like, why? So this is also the Necchi Nora, made in Italy. And I want to keep her covered. And this one, let's go ahead and I'll show you. Hopefully you can see that. It's Necchi Nora. She's made in Italy. She's gorgeous. And then, you guys, I found another machine. This one, actually, my husband bought this other one for me that I'm about to show you. And this is another Necchi, but this is a Necchi Supernova. So let's go ahead. Now, this is Nora, okay? She's beautiful. She's beautiful. Now, this is the Supernova. Now, I took her apart because the table itself was destroyed. And I had to, I just couldn't. I had to revive it. I did not want to paint it white, but honestly, I'm not mad at it because I redid the fabric or the seat. Look at how the seat looks. I used the same colors that was on the machine. Green. This is Necchi Supernova. Now, Supernova is fantastic as well. She runs through anything. I mean, she's amazing. She is amazing. You can actually, she has double needles that you can put in there. She could do the double stitching. So you know how you see on t-shirts and stuff like that? Well, this machine can do that. And she could do so much more. All of her accessories are here. And again, and this is the extension of her tables. The only reason why she's apart right now is because, and this is the original Necchi table. I don't know if you can see that in there. I just sanded it down. I had to strip it, sand it down, and repaint it. And I didn't really want to do it white, but there was no other color that would go perfect with the green. And I thought, you know what? It'll make the green machine stand out even better. I need to do a coat on top of this to protect the paint. So that is why I haven't put her back together. Once I do, I'm going to show you, I'm going to sew on each one of these machines so you can see. So yeah, this is another room that I have. It's very small that I'm probably going to do some reorganizing so that I can have all of my beautiful machines in one spot. And here's what I'm thinking. But I have one more machine to show you, and it's in a different room because I have no space. This is how small this place is. Even though it has 5 rooms, the rooms are like a closet size. So anyways, again, this seat was green. It was like a green vinyl, and I thought, no, I don't like that. I actually bought this remnant for $2 at a fabric store. It's an upholstery fabric. And I thought, you know what, that is perfect with that because it has the green, but this has a little pop of color to it. I thought, yes, I have the hardware, the gold hardware that goes here. It's going to go perfect. Then I'm going to clean up and try to make look nicer. But yeah, so we have Nora, sorry. We have Necchi Nora, and then we have Necchi Nora, and then we have Necchi Supernova. So my husband bought this. You know, I had showed him on Facebook Marketplace, and I think he paid $100 for her. And again, I tested her out. The only problem when we bought her, all of this was so packed down with lint and up in here that I think they probably thought she didn't work anymore. And once I cleaned her up and oiled her up, as you could see, I took the facing off because I was oiling her. I mean, look how clean she is in there. This machine, along with Nora, these two are amazing. They're like industrial machines. They sew like no problem whatsoever. So I absolutely love these machines. I would never get another industrial machine as long as I have one of these machines. And I'm going to show you the next one because the next one is just as fantastic as these necchi machines. These machines though, the neckis, are harder to find parts for, and it's probably because they're made in Italy. And not everybody knows how to really fix them. I think I found somebody that lives somewhere here in Oregon. I don't know where, and she was repairing machines and then they stopped, and I think they're starting up again. I'm not sure, but these machines don't need repairing. These are beautiful as long as you keep them oiled. And the only thing with the downside on these types of machines is you got to keep them oiled and you got to keep them running. Otherwise, they kind of like dry up and then they don't want to start, but they will start again. You just got to do the whole process of cleaning them and getting the gunky oil out. So yeah, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the next machine. Okay, so here's the last sewing machine that I have. And I told you, we're in different rooms. Now we're in my master bedroom. And this machine is gorgeous. Look at her table. It has the mid-century vibes that I absolutely love. And she is in fantastic, and I mean fantastic condition. Look at this table. First, let's just admire the table. I absolutely love this table. Like, nothing is wrong with her. She has her accessories as well. She has different cans. She has all of the accessories and the book. And so did the necchi. I also have the necchi sewing machine manual for both of them, for the Nora and Nova. And this is a Singer 401A. And the A just means that it was, made here in, I think, South Carolina or Anderson, Carolina, something like that. Okay, that's all the A means. But this is the 401. And I think they used to call these the slant machines just because of the base, the way that they look. But this machine right here, this here is just, you can put the machine in, it goes in, and it could just be one surface table. So that's what that is. And I just set that there. But look at the table and look at the machine itself. Beautiful. This machine was well taken care of. Well, let me tell you about how we got her. Now, wasn't thrifting. Let's see if you can guess how much I paid for this machine. Go ahead and comment below and let me know what you think I might have paid for this machine. I'll wait a little bit. Adore her. Just adore her. Okay, I'll let you know. We went to an estate sale because I saw this picture. Now, initially I did see one like this at a thrift store, but the table was beat up and the knobs were different. They weren't the same knobs, and they wanted $100 for it. And I was like, no freaking way would I pay $100 for this. And anyway, the top of the table was scratched up. It was, part of the paint came off. I mean, it was just a mess. And I thought I would have to redo the table, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do that. So when I saw this table listed in an estate sale as one of the photos, I told my husband, I want to go to this estate sale. Well, I couldn't go on a Friday because I work, so I had to go on a Saturday. Well, Saturdays here in Oregon, 50% off. Hopefully this will focus. And I almost forgot, and my husband had said, hey, do you want to go to that estate sale you said? And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about it. We went. I saw the table. I saw the sewing machine. I saw a lot of people looking at the sewing machine. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to work it. They didn't know if it started. They didn't know anything about it. But see, I did my research based on the other one I found at the thrift store, right? Before I wasn't going to buy the one at the thrift store, but when I saw it, I wanted to do research to see if those singers were really good, because in the past I've had some singers. Oh, and there was another singer that I forgot to tell you guys about that I had bought, and then I no longer have because I sold that at the estate sale. It was one of those singers with, the black ones with the gold. It was beautiful and it worked. I just never used her, and I didn't want her to sit around. So, and she didn't have a table. So I just said, you know, or a case. She was just loose, and I sold her. So she went to some nice lady in San Antonio. But anyways, let's get back to the story. So I did a lot of research on this based on my experience on newer Singer machines. I wasn't thrilled. Now that vintage one I had was really nice. And then one that I had years ago was also a vintage Singer, worked really nice. And that was why I thought the newer Singers would work nice. So I had bought two, and they didn't. I hated those machines. I honestly hated the newer ones. So when I saw this, and I was like, oh, it's a Singer, but I don't know. I did a lot of research, and this machine, believe it or not, was to mimic the necchi machines. When Singer came out with this model, it was to mimic the necchi machines that I showed you, that I have in the other room. And you can see the kind of the face of it, the way that it looks. We'll get a little bit closer. Looks similar to the neckis, right? Only this is a Singer. This Singer, oh my gosh, she sews up beautifully. She is fast, and so are the neckis. Super fast. Love it. So the only thing with her is she needs to be oiled, and that's it. But she, you know, I don't want to run it with no oil. So I wanted to move this machine into my sewing room where I showed you, but I need to do some reconfiguration there. I need to pull out stuff so that I can put her in there. And I would love to do videos on this machine. I would rather use this one than the Janome machine. The Janome machine, don't get me wrong, it runs nice. I'm just, you know, it doesn't go as fast as I thought it would go. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I was used to the Juki. The Juki did have speed, but the Juki always struggled to sew through thick material. This, however, doesn't. Okay, so the Janome, also I made a denim skirt, and it didn't struggle. I mean, maybe just a little tiny bit, but I'm not done with my skirt. I need to finish it off, and I'm going to finish it off on this machine. And I just need to go to the store, which I'm going to do this weekend, and get some good oil for her so that I can oil her up, because she is also like an industrial machine and has several places that you have to oil her. Yeah, I'd have to lift her up, and she's heavy as well because they're all metal machines. I would have to lift her up, put the oil in the bottom, put the oils, you know, where it tells me, because in the manual, it tells you where you have to oil it. And let me tell you, this machine is an oil-hungry machine. So we have to oil her so that she doesn't give up. Now, you're probably wondering, I don't see the foot pedal. Well, no, because she runs off a knee lift. The foot pedal is in there, but you can see the knee lift kind of right there. Okay, that's the knee lift. That's how she sews. And I absolutely love that. At first, I was a little confused. Could I get used to this? And I sat there and I was playing around with her, and she absolutely is gorgeous to sew with, especially with that knee lift. And she's super, super fast. And the stitches, oh my God, just as delicious as the necking ones. The stitches are beautiful. I absolutely love this machine. And again, I would rather sew with this machine than my Janome or my Baby Lock. And that is why I'm trying to figure out how to move her in there, because my sewing table that I have in the other room where the Janome is sitting on is huge and it's heavy, and I would have to move it out and then maybe move this in, or like I said, reconfigure things and figure this out. But this is a machine that I'm probably going to keep in the other room just because it has all the drawers there already, and this one is beautiful. Now, like I said, I do love my neckis, and I'm probably going to move one of them in. I mean, I would love to have them all, but again, the room is really small, and so I need to figure that out. I also have, you know, let's go to the other room. Okay, so here we are. So with this machine, this table is wider than that Singer table, and it's long and wide. The width is wide, as that's why I'm able to fit the serger on there, and that's one of the reasons why I don't want this table out, is because I do use my serger. But what I'm thinking is, because I have the embroidery machine here, I really don't use it anymore, just because I haven't done any craft shows, as I mentioned in my last video. I'm getting more into the handmade rather than this stuff. So if I move the embroidery machine and maybe the Cricut station out, I can put the Singer here, and maybe the one of the I can put the necchi with the white table on. Will just fold down the sides, the extensions, so that way it could fit in the corner, because they both won't fit in here. Or I can maybe put the necchi over here in this area here. Here I have my patterns and fabric here, and that's why I kind of keep that there. And you can see that, those two bins right there. And then here I have a little stand where I have my projects. And let me show you the skirt. Now this skirt I did sew, like I said, on the Janome, and she did okay, but she struggled. So here is my skirt. She's not done, as you can see. I need to do her buttons and stuff like that. And the machines do have buttonhole things, but I'm not worried about that because my Baby Lock there has a buttonhole thing. So if I needed to do buttonholes, if I sew Janome, which she is listed for sale on Facebook Marketplace, I can always use my Baby Lock Rachel to do my little buttonholes. Not little, do my buttonholes. So as you can see, I still need to do the buttonholes. I need to do these bout loops, which I know she's going to struggle. Janome's going to struggle to do, but not my necchi or my Singer. They're going to be able to go through this easily. And also my waistband, well actually I've already finished the waistband, so that's good. I had problems with the waistband with this machine, with the Janome, and I know Baby Lock Rachel couldn't do it, so I wasn't going to try. And my other machines, again, my necchi Nora, I didn't have that knob, the tension knob, so I didn't bother with her. And the other ones I just got, so I thought, no, I can't do that. So, and then I have to do the hem. And where it's gonna struggle as well is when I faux this in, and that thickness here, this machine will struggle, but the necchi and that Singer will not. The three machines will not. So that is, and this is a thick denim. This is a really thick denim that I had bought at an estate sale, a whole roll of denim, and it's I think like a 60-inch. So it's a wide one, for $15. It was a whole brand new roll. So I made my skirt, and then I made pouches, but I'm also gonna make other things with that. So anyways, that's the struggle with the space, and that is why I no longer have the Juki. I think it's the DU1181N. I think that's the model. It was the industrial one, because Juki has different ones, and it has the big table, and it's really heavy. That wouldn't have fit in here. And the Baby Lock Destiny, she would have fit there, but her luggage and all the other things, there was no space, right? Even my closets are full, so I wouldn't. Where would I put it? And plus, I wanted a different machine. I didn't want something so huge, because the Baby Lock Destiny is huge. She's a big girl. Love the machine, but just I didn't use all the features. I have this embroidery machine right here, so I didn't use the embroidery features. So I sold her. And then the Singer, it was the black and gold one. She didn't have a case or a table, and so she just sat there looking pretty, and I kind of regret selling her, but I just didn't see where I would put her. Like I didn't know. I felt bad that she was just sitting there. She wanted to be used, and she was just sitting there. And then one of the neckis, as I told you, was sitting in the garage for years, since 2018, until just last month, actually September, that I found that other one on Facebook Marketplace, and it said it needed rewiring, and I offered him $40, and he took it, and I went and I picked it up, and I fixed that machine. I fixed the one that I have, because mine didn't need rewiring. I just needed to replace that little knob, because that guy broke it, and here we are. And then my husband found the other one, and he bought it. Well, I showed it to him, and I was telling him, I was just educating him on sewing machines, but now every time he sees a sewing machine, and I haven't told you the price that I paid for the Singer, and I will just a bit. Every time I talk to him about sewing machines, or we see one and it's a good price, he's like, oh, you ought to get that one, and he'll just buy it. I'm like, well, where am I going to put this sewing machine? I might as well be a shop for sewing machines, right? So let's get back to the Singer. Oh my gosh, Singer 401A, 401A, beautiful machine. Just as beautiful as my neckies. Oh my gosh, like and like I said, the only downside with my neckies is it would be harder for me to try to, if something happened, to replace it or find someone that is knowledgeable on those neckies. Now again, on Facebook, not Facebook, on YouTube, I found some people, and there's like 2 guys that really know them, one in particular, and it's, that's how I learned how to fix the knob. Otherwise I wouldn't have known. So thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Nikki, YouTuber on here somewhere. Like, I forgot his name, but I did save his, you could bookmark, save the video. So I did that just so that I can always refer back, because he doesn't only fix, so there's one guy that only fixes neckies, and I love his channel. I also bookmark him, but there's another one, he does all different machines. And so, but he also knows a lot about the neckies. So anyway, for the Singer and that beautiful immaculate table, that I probably will not part with this machine, unless someone offered me really good money, because what I'm about to tell you is we went on a Saturday to the estate sale. It's half off day. This machine was listed for sale for $68, and that was probably why people thought she didn't work. She also had a chair, but the chair was separate. They were selling it separate, and I didn't like the chair. So I said, no, I don't need the chair. I'll just use my chair here. This one, when my husband said, oh, yeah, we got to get it. And he literally, when he saw that it was half day or half price, even at $68, wasn't bad. So you can do the math. Half of 68 is 34. And that is exactly what we paid for her, $34. And she works amazing. And then one thing I do notice is the stitches that you stitch with the vintage machines, with this Singer and the neckies, are much nicer than this. This is a new machine. Janome is a new machine. Baby Lock is a new machine. I only used her for maybe a month before I got Baby Lock Destiny, and then she sat in the box. And like I said, I have her there because I do use her for some things, because with the Janome, this is before I got my other machines, and even with these other machines, it's the whole throat area, right? Like the whole plate, it does not come off. So if I'm trying to do a sleeve or, a hem on a pant leg or something, I can't take that off. And this Baby Lock, I can. So I'll have just the narrow part, and I can turn easily. So that is why I won't get rid of her. Plus, she was not expensive at all. And I love that machine, even though it's little. I just love that machine. She does a lot of good things for me. So that machine I'm going to keep, and that's why she's there, because I do use her for those things. And then this one, I do have her listed for sale, but I don't want to keep her in a box, and just let her rot away. So I've been using her. And she has a lot of features that I don't know, because I don't really know Janome's, right? And I don't want to take the time. I just want to sew. But we're going to start sewing on the Singer and possibly the necki, so that you can see the stitches and what I'm talking about. And I'll compare that to what I have here. And of course, you're not going to be able to see it on patterns, because this one I quilted and I did like squares. But what I'll do is I'll demonstrate on a solid piece, maybe one of the denim scraps, so that you could see clearly the way the stitches look, because I'm telling you, those stitches, delicious. They are beautiful. And I'm just like, wow, I was blown away at the difference, right? When I was testing those machines and because I had been sewing with this one and the Baby Lock, I was like, whoa, why are the stitches so different? They're nice. They're delicious. Like, I love them. And yeah, I know it's hard. How do you love stitches? Well, when you sew, you love stitches just as much as you love fabric, because it makes the product that you are working on that much nicer. And like I said, there are some things that are not, just like my skirt, I can't finish it on there because she was struggling. So I'm going to finish it on the Singer, but I need to, again, take a day where I have my husband help me move everything to that other room. And then I can because I just literally organized and cleaned out that room. And then the other room, I have all of my, I call it the warehouse, is where I have all my finished products. So everything that I've made from crochet and sewing is in that other room. And then the other room I have is my office where I do my regular job. So there we are. I have the whole entire upstairs, basically. There is this space downstairs that is the front room. It's very narrow, and we use the back room for the living room, and the front room is basically empty. That I told my husband I was going to set up all my machines against the wall, and that was going to be my sewing machine, or sewing room, because it is a long space. But then that will look kind of weird when you come in and that's all you saw was a messy sewing machine or sewing room, because you see I have stuff everywhere, and especially because I'm trying to bulk prep a lot of things right now. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I can get into this holiday market, because I heard that it is a very good market. I did see that they went onto my website and they did look at my products and stuff like that, and they didn't send me a no. So I'm hoping that I'm a yes, or even if they waitlist me, right? I don't care. Find me a spot. I'll even be outside if you want me to, because it's two barns, or I don't want to say they're barns, two buildings that the show is at. It's that big. And I heard from other vendors that they usually sell out. Different vendors that have different products that they usually sell out. So I am, diligently working until, I think I worked until like 10:30 yesterday. I do have my regular job, but once I clock out, I come straight here and I'm working. Like I have these that I need to quilt. These are quilted, that is quilted, and then that needs to be quilted, and that needs to be finished. That needs to be quilted. Then I'm going to work on my next collection just so I can get that out. I've already made a template because I'm creating my own size tote bag and what I want it to look like. So I created a template. I went and bought a poster board. I know this is supposed to be about sewing machines. Let's back that up. Let's just end it here because now I'm getting into what I'm making, and this is just supposed to be about sewing machines. So we're not going to go there. We'll pick that up on another video. But anyways, because I was talking about stitches and how beautiful it looks and the product that it gives you. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the sewing machines and which one you're more interested in seeing in action. And that's the one that we will finish up my collections with. If you want me to use the Singer, we'll do the Singer. If you want me to use the necchi noras or the supernova, just comment below which one, and that will be the machine that we're going to be using to finish the products. All right, so thank you for hanging out with me today, and until next time.